What's up, girls? I just read F. Scott Fitzgerald's famous short story, Bernice Bobs Her Hair. I read it as part of Professor Chi Dimmock's Hemingway, Faulkner, and Fitzgerald course. That is one of the Yale open course free classes you can take on YouTube. It's part of his short story collection, Flappers and Philosophers, published in 1920, 5 years before he published The Great Gatsby, and it deals with a lot of similar themes of like the constraints of upper class popularity and, you know, kind of the performative nature of being charming, I would say. Bernice is visiting her cousin, Marjorie, and they're going to kind of all these society parties, and no one really wants to dance with Bernice. At first, Marjorie is very annoyed that Bernice is so unpopular, and she's trying to get her to conform to the ways in which she would like her to act so that she will be popular. Bernice is really resistant. She's just kind of being herself at first, and ultimately she kind of succumbs to following Marjorie's advice, and the central way that she becomes performatively popular, she starts talking about how she's going to bob her hair, which bobbing your hair at that period of time would be like a very edgy thing to do. You know, today it would be like kind of like a high society girl talking about they're going to get a full sleeve of tattoos, or, you know, or like shaving their head maybe. That's like a little more extreme example. But it would be shocking and like very wild and very devil-may-care to all the other guys and girls at the party. So she goes on and on talking about how she's going to bob her hair for a while, and in the process she becomes more popular than Marjorie. Marjorie does not want her to be more popular than her. She wants her, first she's upset that she's, you know, kind of a loser in her eyes, but she doesn't want her to be more popular than her. That's a kind of a classic, you know, maybe dramatic female rivalry, like ironic plot structure, if that makes sense. Sort of the apprentice becomes the master, and the original master then wants to fight them. So she basically says, like, you're bluffing, now you need to actually bob your hair in front of a bunch of people, and she kind of has to back it up by actually bobbing her hair, and which is pretty genius structurally, because it's both like, you understand, for Bernice it's like devastating, but also just kind of funny that she's like so horrified by getting a bad haircut. And yeah, then it ends with her cutting her cousin's hair in her sleep and then running off. It's like a 20-page short story. It's interesting to see how Fitzgerald is clearly obsessed with certain, you know, performative natures, obsessed with the performative nature of like high society, and, you know, kind of how oppressive it can be, and how you have to follow all of these very strict rules, and that there's a great irony in that the more you have to perform, when you might assume it to be the alternative. And he's clearly very obsessed with these themes. It seems like he kind of goes through them in his short story collections before he gets to writing The Great Gatsby, which I just thought was very cool, that, you know, it wasn't like he had like a spark of creative genius and he just wrote The Great Gatsby. These were ideas, themes, and issues that he had stuck with for a long period of time. So if you like Fitzgerald and The Great Gatsby, check out Bernice Bobs Her Hair to see kind of a prelude of some of those themes. Thanks for watching.